Well, hello. Welcome to the best football show. It's Friday, November 22nd. We have started week 12 already. You can find me and all the stuff that I do for the NFL and Odyssey and Compass Media and National Radio and all kinds of other outlets. You can find me at Baldy NFL on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, etc. You can find this free show here on your Odyssey app. Download it, like it, subscribe to it, wherever you get your podcast from. We're here every day. It's Friday, November 22nd. I'm here on the third floor, NFL Films, and I think, the first news really is what the Giants and Daniel Jones have agreed to do, which basically is to release Daniel Jones. It's a business financial decision. It's no different than what the Raiders did with Derek Carr, or basically what Denver did with Russell Wilson a year ago. They know they're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to honor his contract next year. They're going to release him. So rather than risk injury, whether it's in a game or in practice, it's better just to flat out say, okay, you're third-team quarterback. But Daniel Jones wanted to make an announcement, and he went to the owner, John Mara, and said, look, I'm just going to ask for my release, please. 6 years in New York. It has not gone well for Daniel Jones. It was not good for the Giants. 6 years, one playoff win. It didn't work out. They couldn't build an offense line around him. They didn't have much stability. They changed coaches, general managers, offense line coaches 5 different times since Daniel Jones has been there. So I'm not going to put it all on Daniel Jones, but he didn't play well at all this year, even when given opportunities. I didn't think he saw the field well. I don't think he made good decisions, and they were struggling. And so they're a 2-win team. So before they play the Cowboys this week, where Tommy DeVito is now the starter, which I guess is the question, is why are they going with Tommy DeVito over a guy that they signed, Drew Lock, they signed in the offseason for $5 million guaranteed dollars? Well, Tommy DeVito played well last year in 3 wins. He was 3-3 as a starter, won a big game in New York against the Green Bay Packers, played very well. They're looking for a spark. And so that's why they're going with DeVito. But Daniel Jones is no longer a New York Giant. He'll be a free agent. Anybody's able to sign him. Who knows? Maybe he's Sam Darnold. We just don't know it. The way Sam Darnold traveled after he left the Jets and Carolina and San Francisco, and now playing very well on an 8-2 team in Minnesota. Who knows? Maybe a fresh start, new beginnings. We've seen it with Baker Mayfield. We've seen it with different quarterbacks. Maybe just needs a new beginning. So the Giants have granted him that. Now let's get to week 12 here, because we saw a game last night where the Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they beat them. Well, it was a lovely snowstorm there in Cleveland. First real football and snow game we've had this year. Maybe we'll see some this weekend. I'll be in Green Bay. Maybe we see some of that in Green Bay. Who knows? But Jameis Winston has started the last 4 games for Cleveland. And you could look at his interceptions and fumbles and turnovers and go, well, he's the same old Jameis. Except that he's gone to Baltimore and beat the Ravens. And he's beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers on a short week after he threw for almost 400 yards last week in New Orleans. He played well. I know he threw an interception, and I know he got the ball knocked out of his hands at one point by Nick Herbig. But regardless, he played well. He took him down there for the game-winning touchdown, converted some 4th downs, the 4th and 3 to Jerry Jeudy. He was really 3rd and 7. We found Jeudy. There was some big throws along the way. So the Cleveland Browns are 2-2 under Jameis Winston. And really, he did a good job. Myles Garrett had 3 sacks and a forced fumble in the first half. Pittsburgh didn't run the ball like they had run the ball. Russell Wilson wasn't great. He was fine. Justin Fields came in, tried to give him a little bit of a spark. They couldn't convert some 4th downs. They missed a field goal. They had some sacks there where they took them out of field goal range. They had a chance to win the game. After the interception by Dane Jackson, they're up 19-18 with, 4 minutes to go in the game. They couldn't finish the game out. Credit Cleveland in their front and how well they played. Grant Delpit played great. Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, they played very, very well. Denzel Ward, the secondary, played well. So we knew going into the season that this would potentially be the best division football. Clearly isn't. But you saw what Cleveland's talent looks like last night. Judy and Njoku, Batonio and Wyatt Teller, Ethan Posick inside, as good as there is. The force that Myles Garrett is and what he can be from game to game. He's now got 10 sacks. He's got 4 forced fumbles. He's blocked a field goal. I mean, he looks like he wants his defensive player of the award to stay right in his house next year, the way he's going. Anyways, Pittsburgh took one on the chin. And it's the NFL. Here's an 8-2 Steeler team coming off an impressive win against the Ravens. 4 days later, up against a 2-8 Cleveland team with nothing to play for and all that stuff that people say, except not one fan left. The snow was crazy, just a complete blizzard off the lake. Nobody left. The fans were there, and they stayed to enjoy the whole thing. And Dick Chubb scores the game winner with, a minute to go in the game. That's the NFL. And so anybody that's looking at somebody's schedule going, that's a winnable game, that's a winnable, you got to play them all out, especially division games. Because these teams in Pittsburgh on 10 days rest plays the Cincinnati Bengals. And you can look at their record and go, 4 wins, just got beat by the Chargers, gave up a 26-yard touchdown to lose the game at the end. Division games are just different. Everybody knows them. Everybody sees the cut-ups. So let's get to some other big games this weekend. Let's start Sunday night with the Rams right now. And the Rams hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Because the Rams are 5-5. They're just in that gridlock in the NFC West. But they made a subtle change in their win against the New England Patriots last week. It was a close game. Very close game. Came down to an interception at the end where New England had a chance to go ahead and take the lead. They got an interception at the end to secure the win. But the Rams put the rookie Bo Limmer in for Jonah Jackson at center. And suddenly, with Kevin Dotson at right guard, Limmer at center, and Steve Avila at left guard, they found a good running attack for Kyron Williams last week. He had a good game. He's a great player, whether he's running it, whether he's breaking tackles, whether he's protecting, or whether he's catching a pass. He's a complete all-around back. Even Blake Corum got a chance to play a little bit last week and played well with that front. So what I'm saying is they ran the ball better, and by the way, against the Patriots, they did not give up a sack. And Matt Stafford barely got touched. And if they can play anywhere like that against the Eagles, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, they've got targets. They've got guys that can flat out win. So I think this is the most that the Eagles secondary will get tested so far this year. And there's a lot to brag about with Quinyon Mitchell, with the play of Cooper DeJean in the slot, Reed Blankenship. There's a lot to talk about. This is going to be a big test for them. Now, on the other flip side, the Eagles are fueled by Saquon Barkley. I said at the start this year that I thought he'd win the rushing title. I still believe he will. He leads the league in total yards, all-purpose yards. He's somewhere around 135 yards a game right now. The Eagles' offense runs through Saquon. And the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, has played well, but he's a benefactor of that run game. So the interesting matchup to me is this young defensive line of the Rams, which are very good. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. They're very good. They're very talented. And they're just getting better and better. But the Eagles' offense line there's Buffalo, there's Detroit, there's Philadelphia. There's 3 or 4 top flight offensive lines in this league. The Eagles are one of them. So, Jared Verse against Jordan Mailata against, Lane Johnson. I like both the tackles for the Eagles in a game against Verse. But they're talented. But I think that's where the game is going to be decided on Sunday night. The Eagles have gone out there in past years and beaten the Rams on a couple of occasions. One, if you remember, Carson Wentz in 2017 went out there and tore his ACL. And that's when Nick Foles came in and led them to a Super Bowl that year. So that's just one of the games they went out there and won. But they played well out there in Los Angeles. It's not this particular team, but still, they've got a track record of going out there and playing well, at SoFi. So, anyways, I like the Eagles this week to beat the Rams, although I think the Rams can be extremely competitive. And I want to see if the Rams can protect against the Eagles' defensive front led by Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat. I want to see if they can protect well enough for Matt Stafford to go do his thing. Then we have the Harbaugh Bowl on Monday night. And it's a fascinating game. You've got a 7-4 Raven team coming off a defeat and a 7-3 Charger team, winning a big game against Cincinnati last week. I feel like the Chargers are just more complete right now. I know the Ravens have done some things. They added Tre'Davious White in the secondary. They needed help. They sat Eddie Jackson. Ardavius Washington is a safety now, next to Kyle Hamilton. They've improved personnel in the secondary, and they went a game without giving up a touchdown pass last week to Pittsburgh. And so maybe they have improved enough. They defended some balls in the end zone last week, something they hadn't been able to do. But I like this Chargers team. I like them defensively. They're number one in the league right now. Number one in the league. So they've given up the fewest points. And they start two rookie corners in Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still. And they have Kristen Fulton. All three of those guys played well last week, even against Joe Burrow, especially in the fourth quarter. But I like the toughness that this Charger team is playing with. I like the way they tackle. I like the way they defend. I like the way they get after the quarterback. And I like the way they're protecting their quarterback. So I like the Chargers in the Harbaugh Bowl. There's one more game this week that I'd like to get to. And it's the game I'm going to be at. I'm leaving for Green Bay, Wisconsin tomorrow. And I'm going to be announcing the 49ers in Green Bay for national radio. Now, we have some injuries we have to monitor. Last week, in the second half of the 49ers loss to Seattle, Nick Bosa went down. When he went off the field, he hobbled off the field. He hopped off on one leg. But they're saying it's a combined hip injury and oblique injury. I don't know. Nick Bosa is as tough as they come. And he hopped off the field to get off the field, never came back on. When he went off the field, the defense, they didn't even look like a good defense. They looked slow. There was no pass rush. Geno Smith ran in for the game-winning touchdown, and nobody laid a glove on him. They look slow, and they don't have a force like Nick Bosa. Now, I don't know if Nick's going or not going. I don't know. He's not practicing. Today's Friday. I don't know if he's out there. The other guy is George Kittle. He didn't play last week, and they were awful without him. Now, he's got a hamstring injury. He said he's going to play, but hamstring injuries have a way of, all right, well, let's just see how much you can go and how explosive you can be. Well, let's just see, because he's been outstanding. He's probably been the best tight end in football all year. So they lose a lot in the run game. They lose a lot in the pass game. They lose a lot in red zone offense without George in there. So I don't know what his status is. Let's just say he goes, but he's not 100%. Let's just say that. Well, they got to block a lot better, because right now, 2 games, Christian McCaffrey does not look special like he did last year. Maybe he needs another game to get it under his belt. Green Bay's got 19 takeaways. They've got some good safety play. Green Bay hasn't played great themselves, but they're sitting there with a good record right now, and it's at home. So I kind of like the way the Packers, they have enough firepower to beat this 49ers team. Oh, by the way, Brock Purdy's shoulder is ailing. He hadn't practiced through Thursday. He took a little more on Thursday than Wednesday. I assume he's going to play. We just don't know how bad that shoulder is. I don't know. I couldn't tell last week watching him play. But those are 3 major injuries that the 49ers are dealing with and trying to practice with this week as they try to get on track. A 5-5 team trying to get a winning streak going. And honestly, they don't look explosive. They don't look like guys can go beat man coverage, can get down the field, can get big chunk plays on offense. And we'll see how they play defensively if Nick Bosa can't go. That's my big concern. And that's been the best football show. Those are 3 really big games this weekend that have a lot of implications for playoffs, division wins, and all that kind of stuff, all on the line this week. Can't wait to bring you the action on Monday as I start breaking it down the next time I talk to you. Thanks for joining me here on the Best Football Show.